Hello, and thank you for taking the time to come to this session today at the AM Live virtual event. I'm used to presenting to a room full of people where I can see the whites of your eyes to know if I'm making a decent job or not. So today's a bit different. I guess I'll have to wait and find out at the end in the live Q&A if I've hit the mark. What a year 2020 turned out to be. COVID-19 turned the world on its head, and automotive was one of the industries affected most. From closing dealerships to MOT deferral, local lockdown, and considering branching out into garden centres, 2020 had it all. Forced change accelerated the adoption of digital technologies, changed the way media budgets were spent, and sent consumers to new corners of the web for their goods, services, and information. Phrases like, "You're on mute," "I can't see you," and "Next slide, please," became commonplace. Before COVID took hold, many commentators and industry insiders were asking if e-commerce would ever really be viable in automotive anytime soon. Well, we soon had our answer. The number of dealership website updates with e-commerce added has been staggering. The addition of click and collect, click and deliver, and those kind of options that were previously unthinkable is now becoming a standard operating procedure for many dealerships, leading to those same commentators asking how some other retailers have not been able to react and change their business models. In 2019 at AM Live, we looked at the various touchpoints to explore how social media, email and SMS could blend to drive contact strategy for a dealership. We saw interaction on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, alongside the data-driven contact plans using email and SMS. In 2020, the importance of these contact plans was realised by those dealerships who had adopted them already. In 2021, these plans are essential to keep dealerships in contact with customers. From research we commissioned back in October, it's clear that much of the purchase funnel will take place online, with the physical interaction taking place much closer to the final transaction. Even those customers who do want to come to a dealership have to make appointments and follow COVID secure guidance. The age of the walk-in is, at least temporarily, over. During lockdown, with government advising against using public transport and being in an enclosed space with other people, the importance of the car and motorbike as a means of personal transport away from the infection risks of other people has seen the abrupt halt of recent trends reducing car ownership in favour of alternatives. More people than ever are looking at automotive content online. Used car values hit their highest levels on record as many non-car owners reconsidered their options. Having long advocated an ECRM customer contact plan, clients who have these in place have been able to maintain communication with their customers in these difficult times. Managing the sales process digitally is readily possible as long as robust data standards are in place. As those of you who have seen me present before will know, I don't expect you to take my word for it. So I've asked some of our clients to tell us how their digital contact plans have helped them through this year of turmoil. Cambria were early adopters of ECRM programs and have worked hard on their data to get the most out of their opportunities. It's worth noting that the same basic contact plans are in place across the group, from the mainstream Ford website dealerships, through the premium Volvo, Jaguar, Land Rover brands, and into the high-end luxury and performance of Bentley, Aston Martin, McLaren and Lamborghini, with even Rolls-Royce using the same contact strategy. As Ian says, during the COVID lockdowns, our ability to use our data to remain in contact with the right guests at the right time was a safety net we couldn't do without. Using email triggered by our data kept our used car stock in front of our guests at a time when dealerships were closed and enabled us to maintain engagement with the guest electronically until such time as we could welcome them back or bring associates back into the business to talk to them. The ever-changing guidance on vehicle servicing and MOT was a particular challenge, and the ECRM programs we have in place meant we could keep our guests informed at all times during the worrying and confusing time for all. Keith from Sandown has the accolade of leading the marketing and CRM activity for the best data standards group in the Mercedes network. This accurate mine of data allowed the Sandown businesses to react quickly and keep their customers fully updated of changes to sales and after-sales facilities and offerings. As the business pivoted to a virtual showroom during the first lockdown and worked tirelessly to keep customers informed, Their rock-solid database facilitated this communication process to take their customers on the journey with them. Keith notes they probably had more contact with their customers than ever before, despite not having full teams available. There have been some big shifts in attitudes toward cars in groups that in recent years have been turning their backs on car ownership. Young driving age people and those living in metropolitan areas have been turning to car sharing, ride hailing, using apps and technology to ensure transport is available when needed, but not necessarily always. During the lockdowns, these groups have spent time online considering car purchase, using some of the money they've saved by not being able to have their usual lifestyle, and in the face of dire warnings about sharing public transport. Adding communication steps to keep these leads warm during this consideration phase has reaped rewards for diligent dealerships. Not letting lost leads go without a fight and keeping used car stock fed through to quiet prospects means opportunities to re-engage are kept open. A large proportion of leads marked as lost are in fact still in market and can be reignited. If price, affordability, or the right car at the right time are the problem, technology can step in and keep prospects engaged. As an industry, we're good at surveying those who drive off in shiny new cars, but not great at talking to those who don't make it to purchase. I would argue there's more to learn from them and great potential to convert a few more of them. Customers say that if a dealership doesn't respond, they'll go elsewhere. This all seems obvious. Why should a customer stick with the retailer who doesn't respond? Yet day after day, we see replies to follow-up emails where the customer hasn't been replied to. These are real-life examples of people who have replied to lost sale emails, marked as lost in the dealership, who, following re-engagement by programmatic emails, have ended up purchasing a car despite the original trail seemingly going cold. I'll give you a few seconds to read through these. Customers are happy to be contacted by email when they have an open inquiry, as they are to be called. In a time of less and less face-to-face visits, and with dealership staff numbers sometimes making it difficult to keep on top of follow-up calls, automating some of the process and using email tools as a safety net to keep in touch is a business essential. Our survey said, no surprises here either. If someone is looking for a car and their local dealership doesn't have the right car at the right price, the majority will welcome email updates as new stock becomes available or existing stock drops in price. As a manual job for a sales team to keep track of these changes and keep their customers informed, this varies from being difficult to impossible. Using automated tech, it becomes something that keeps every open lead warm. Another key channel for automotive retailers during these uncertain times has been social media. Dean and the Sinclair Group in South Wales had national and local lockdowns to contend with. They kept their social media presence on, using it to keep interested local consumers up to date on measures in place and to keep the selling channels open when dealerships were closed. And consumers like it. Despite fears of the Big Brother society, there is plenty of engagement with consumers who see dealer content on their feed after visiting their website. Forthcoming changes to using tracking data will make this more difficult, but there is tech out there to build audiences from existing data sets and then build out conquest audiences of similar profile people. The digital transformation continues in the after-sales area, although it could be argued that service departments have long employed programmatic marketing techniques. I remember using Kerridge version 7.3, I think it was, to generate service reminder letters and call lists back in the early noughties. The biggest change has been the delivery method, email and SMS replacing snail mail and outbound calls. Data quality is not a new concept, and it holds the key to bringing customers and cars back into dealerships after the upheaval of the last year. The importance of accurate data to give a reasonable excuse to contact customers in a robust multi-step retention plan is pretty clear. Updating your MOT dates, messaging your customers to get updated mileage is an essential process to keep data up to date and enable these retention plans to work. The retention plans have been proved right. Customers prefer to be contacted by email or SMS. They really don't like cold calls. However, it's important to be ready for inbound calls, as it's the most common reply method once the reminder emails have been received. We do see an increasing take-up of online bookings once a pattern of reliable email reminders has been in place for a couple of years. And there is some interesting work going on with instant messaging as part of this process, and I'm sure the next time I speak to you at one of these events, there will be some feedback on this. There has been more disruption to due dates in the last 10 months than ever before, so using digital tools to update MOT dates, contact customers to check mileages, and reset service contact plans is essential to preserve future business. Not surprising that customers are more likely to make a booking with the dealership that keeps their data up to date and contacts them. We see direct correlation between the contact points and bookings made. Interestingly, in the COVID world, those who don't book early are booking very late. At lapsed stages, we're seeing more vehicles overdue and getting booked in after the original recorded due date than previously, as they've covered fewer miles. The messages sent can easily be kept up to date and changed to reflect the circumstances. We've amended more messages than I care to think about in the last 9 to 10 months, but that has enabled our client dealerships to keep their customers informed and engaged. Booking reminders not only help prevent no-shows, but also allow the reinforcement of changes to processes for COVID or any other reasons. They can also be used to prospect for those interested in changing their car. So in summary, connectivity and automation are the key to data-driven marketing success. Consumers are online and are responsive to relevant personalized communications. Retailers with good data and robust digital programs have been able to stay in touch with their customers. Customers can't be pushed down one channel to suit dealership processes. Email, SMS, social media, and telephone all have to be catered for. Staying in touch is far, far better than going silent. Systems that connect and automate can do the heavy lifting. I'll look forward to your questions.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our half an hour on the topic of the acceleration of digital communications in automotive. And with us live are our presenter, Jeremy Evans, who is Managing Director of Marketing Delivery, and Ian Godbold, Marketing and CRM Director of Dealer Group and Marketing Delivery Customer, I believe, at Cambria Automotive. I'll put the questions to Jeremy and Ian now that have been submitted during the sessions so far. So starting here, shouldn't automation of digital marketing and inquiry management only increase? And the person submitting the question says, let's free the human for the highest value interactions. So I'll put that to you, Jeremy.
No arguments for me. We've been preaching this for a while, actually, and groups like Ian's have been on the journey with us for 10 years now. Ian, I think it is, with Cambria. So yeah, the more we can automate, the more we can kind of digitally triage, if you like, the inquiries that are coming in and manage the data sets that are floating around dealerships. As you say, let's get the humans involved when it's most valuable. They're the most expensive asset, and let's use them for the most valuable interactions.
Ian, that is what is happening in reality in Cambria?
It is. I mean, we have the automation side really just to keep Cambria front of mind. We obviously still want humans to follow up, because it's important for them to have that human interaction and a more chance of completing a sale. But having the automated follow up just helps to put Cambria front of mind. I think, Jeremy, last time we looked at this, I think it's between 7 to 8 contacts before a guest actually purchases a car. So having the automation supporting human contact is critical.
On that, just to kind of emphasize it, what is automated? What kind of messages do you leave to a machine?
Shall I pick up that in? We have a contact cycle that kind of nurtures through anything that in an ideal world a person would be able to do, but the sheer volume of either inquiries or services that are needed make it difficult to do that. Also, we know from surveys that we've done in the past and surveys that other organisations have done in the past that actually people like interacting digitally. So follow-ups to inquiries where we are nurturing that lead along rather than pestering with phone calls and constant requests for callbacks. Emails can be dealt with any time of day or night. And we do see replies any time of day or night to emails regarding sales inquiries and service reminders. So it's about allowing the customer to choose what their route to reply is. If they want to make a phone call off the back of receiving an email, great, click the button, make the call. If they want to reply to the email or go to the website, they've got the option to do that. So we're not looking to replace the human interaction, we're looking to supplement it. And provide that safety net that means we can carry out more contact than could be done by people physically.
Jeremy, just to add to that, one area that is fully automated is something with the car alert service that parking delivery run, and we find that completely invaluable for us, because what happens there is any leads that come into our business, if they're lost, sold, or been 7 days, we put them into this pool of car alerts, and then if a consumer is interested in a particular make and model, if that price drops or if there's more vehicles that are added to our stock, it's automated. It goes out to the consumer. We've now put in place working market delivery. We can see if a consumer's actually clicked on the vehicle, so clicked on that link, which obviously comes back to our website. That in turn sparks a text and an email off to our managers to say, in-market buyer back online. But not only that, that starts our retargeting strategy, where we go again following the consumer around the web, putting that vehicle in front of them. So we find that a brilliant service, and particularly during COVID. I mean, this has been, it really has come to light how important this is, and we've just seen those numbers increase week on week, Joe.
Yeah, it's that thing that in the best of times there are more inquiries, open inquiries, and vehicle changes than any sales team can keep up with. And during COVID, when dealership numbers, showroom numbers of staff are at their lowest, it's just something that you can't do without the tech being there to fire that off.
Sure. So as more data is collected electronically, this potentially enables centralized management for dealer groups. Okay, so that people aren't coming in to individual centres themselves. It is being brought into if you like, a central point in the dealership. But the point being made is this is not as easy as it sounds. So is it actually happening?
It is. Central management of data is already happening, and with companies like Canberra, we hold a data hub for all of their data sources, whether it be showroom systems. Some of them are mandated by OEMs, so some sites are on different systems to others. Whether it's DMS data, we bring that into a data hub for them, so that there can be kind of that continuity of contact with their guests, despite the requirements of the OEM and what system that's recorded on. When it comes to how interactions from that are managed, we have client dealer groups that send all the interactions back to the site where it originated, and we have others that send it to central kind of contact centres. More common in service for it to go to a central contact centre for bookings, but some clients do have kind of sales, almost like an internet sales team, where any kind of replies and things like the click alerts on car alerts that Ian mentioned can come back into a kind of central sales team who can reignite those leads that have kind of gone cold, with lost sale follow-ups and replies as well. One of the things we've seen during the pandemic is more leads being marked as lost earlier, but those being re-engaged and replying. So the conversion to people marked as lost in the dealership, because it's more difficult to keep up with leads and manage those inquiries. The conversion of those has increased during the pandemic, because those who are still interested have got a route to reply straight away by clicking on an email rather than waiting for somebody to get round to contacting them.
Ian, is it proving to be as simple as that theory suggests?
It's not simple. It's not simple.
It's definitely not simple. We're slightly different. We have a piece of software where that data comes into one area centrally, and then each dealer then accesses that. We don't have a centralised team as such, but our data is central, that each individual then goes in to get that information. As you probably know, we run autonomous responsible dealerships in Canberra dealerships. We don't have a centralised team looking after all of that, but we do have a centralised data area which then they can tap into.
I've heard two views about the acceleration in the industry. One is that today 2 years. We've moved on 2 years in 2 months. Another one I've read is 7 years in 7 months. Has the content or the nature of communications changed as a result? So consumer behavior, has it changed in any way? Has it kind of, if you like, accelerated to the same extent? We are in a position where we are now that we might not be in either, I don't know, 2 years, or someone else said 7.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll go back to
No.
where we were, or do you think we'll stay 7 years ahead when all this is over?
I mean, we've had clients that we've felt and have advised prior to the pandemic that we thought we've been quite cautious with their communication strategy, and we've kind of advocated contacting people more often if we know it's relevant to them. So if we know someone's in a sales inquiry, why wouldn't you contact them on a really regular basis, because we know they're hot to trot. Similarly, if someone is in a service cycle, we know the vehicle's due, why wouldn't you keep contacting them to try and win their business? Customers engage with it and like it. Some of our more conservative dealer groups during the pandemic actually took that advice and ramped up the contact and reaped the benefits from it. So and that's here to stay. That now, they having seen that it doesn't scare customers off and that people do engage with it. The importance, as I've said many years, Jeremy, you've heard me say this so many times over the years, that it's all about relevance. If it's relevant to the customer, they will interact with it. If it's not relevant and you're just spamming them constantly with stuff that's not relevant to them, it's not timely for them, then yeah, that you can expect them to unsubscribe and ignore you. But if it's relevant because they're in an inquiry or their vehicle is due a service, then keep the contact up. The dealer groups that were a little conservative with that before the pandemic, who have ramped it back up, are I think that they've realised now that that's the way to go forward, and they'll be on that to stay.
I think just during lockdown 1 and 2, I mean, it was so critical. The investment that we've made over the years with you guys with the data, it become valuable, because keeping our guests and consumers updated. We supplied a safety video of what they expected when they come to the dealership. How was it going to be signposted? How their vehicles were going to be sanitised, and just making it that it was going to be a safe and COVID secure experience that they were going to have. The feedback that we got our guests from changing, we were forever updating our templates, because obviously it was changing from some areas were in lockdown, some areas wasn't. So we was forever working with marketing delivery to get them changed. But the feedback we had was great, and we supported that with a social media strategy as well through Facebook, Insta, and that really worked. And the feedback we had was that the guests were happy to come to the dealership, were happy to go through the after sales experience, and it was good for us. We're obviously experiencing that at the moment with the click and collect model now. The same sort of experience we're putting out there to our consumers and guests, that when they come, it's going to be a safe and secure environment for the handover.
Thanks, Ian. In after sales, particularly, what does currently a great service inquiry conversion rate look like, and how can we reach that point? If it's achievable, if you're seeing it's being achieved, how is that possible? How is it being made possible?
Our best-in-class dealers are seeing a kind of probably 55-60% retention rate in service. So that's from any vehicle due a service in that time period. So there's the classic model that we've all seen, where a new car retention is up high and then it kind of dips as the years go by. So you throw all of those vehicles in the pot and take the average of every vehicle that's due. The best-in-class dealers are kind of 55-60%. The average is probably 35-40%. So the key to the difference between those two is the data, is the accuracy of that data, and obviously the MOT rollover through a massive spanner in that works in keeping that data up to date for dealers. But dealer groups like Ian's and like Keith's, who was in the presentation, that have worked tirelessly on their data over the years to get it accurate, capture everything, capture consents. They're the ones that can be contacted multiple times within a contact plan to bring those customers in and get those retention rates up into those kind of high 50s and low 60%.
Ian, anything to comment on that?
I think you work tirelessly. I mean, as I say, we've worked with these guys 10 years, and over that time, we've done so many ABC tests of different times of emails being sent, different times of a telephone call being made, DM when it gets sent out. Averaging the response versus the costs involved. and it's it is, we have different modules for used and new and even franchise, but well, I think Jeremy's right. I think the high end is achievable, but it's the investment you've got to do on your data, which is painful, but it's worthwhile.
Yeah, sure. Ian, just sticking with you, if I may, you and your business and your staff have had to be nimble and innovative. In that environment, are you able to put your hands on the technical tools that you require, or is there some gaps in the suite of products that you can use?
Nimble's definitely the word. Obviously, during what we've gone through, with people being on furlough, so we've been very much hands-on in really getting closer to that. I think our innovation and technical tools have increased during COVID because we needed to get up to speed and looking at every single opportunity that's coming in, and to maximise that opportunity with each of our dealers. So it's certainly been all hands that have been in to the pump and making sure that we've got the best technology we can have. We've got a number of enhancements over this time. Our developers haven't stopped. They've been at the forefront of changing it. Obviously, the support that we've had as well out there from our suppliers as well, assisting us, helping us, it's been good. So I think it's probably been the fastest it's been. Although we've been in lockdown, it's probably been the fastest we've seen in the growth from a technological point of view for a few years now. Would you concur, Jeremy?
Yeah, absolutely. My guys have never worked harder, both in the changing messages that obviously as the situation has been a fluid situation with lockdowns and partial, and then tier systems with some dealers in, some dealers out. So changing the messages to customers to make sure customers know what they're doing, but also things like the alert system we put in on car alerts. That was a direct result of COVID. We built that. I think we turned that round in 3 days. From scratch, and we tweaked it as we went on then with it, but we got something out because we knew that our dealers were going to struggle to figure out who's clicking on what and who needs contacting about which vehicle. So anything that we could do to turn something around to help them with that was kind of our duty of care, if you like, to do that. So we turned that around really quickly. The MOT update system that we built, again, we turned that around really quickly. From basically a complete standing start, because obviously nobody expected the MOT thing. Nobody could ever foresee that the MOT rollover was going to happen. So when it did, it was all of a sudden all this good work we've done with dealers over the years to capture these dates and bring everything up to date. A load of that was under threat in one fell swoop. So we built a system to connect to DVSA and pull all those dates back so that we could update everything for our clients. And again, it turned that around in record time. So the developers and the kind of delivery team who build the messages have been flat out to turn stuff around and make it happen. And again, these projects are things that will stick around now. They're things that were probably good ideas in the past that we thought one day we'll get round to them. Necessity has meant we'll do them. So nothing that tells you what you should build on your product plan better than necessity.
Sure. Very straightforward question. Thank you, Lorna. Do you embed any video messages into your email and SMS templates?
We put links to videos in. So various different email clients treat embedded video differently. So in order to have something which would work with all email clients, we embed links to videos, and same with SMS. So links to videos in various different message formats. Yeah, absolutely. And video is again one of those areas that's grown massively during the pandemic. So again, working with our clients and the other suppliers in the industry, that some of which you've heard from today, to plug the technology together. So in the CDK session where the guys were talking about the suppliers who are expert in their fields working together to connect the kind of eco structure, if you like, of what's going on out there. Whereas in years gone by, everybody's fighting each other, trying to do what everybody else does. Now, I think there's a realization that we're all experts in what we do. So if we play nicely together and plug everything in together, that's for the benefit of all of our mutual clients.
Would you agree, Ian, that the use of video has increased considerably during lockdown?
Yeah, massively. Obviously, personalised videos going out to consumers. There's some great examples that we see. Specialist cars. You mentioned the way he does. That's fantastic. And some great dealers that are doing some good work out there. We've certainly promoted that because obviously consumers are no longer just walking into your dealership. You've got to give them that personalised video. And as I say, we did a big video on how safe and secure our dealers are when you visit them, which has been at one stage it was the most watched web page on the site.
Excellent. We've only got half an hour. I've got to bring this session to a close with thanks to you, the audience, and particularly to Jeremy and Ian. Thank you very much. Marketing Delivery is in Hall 1, and you can pick up a copy of its report, which details the findings, some of which Jeremy revealed today, called The Shift to Digital, Motor Retail in a Changing World. You can pick that up at the Marketing Delivery stand. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. All the best. Take care.